decluttering more glass jars. Unbelievable. And yes, my head is upside down, and that's because I want to show you the amount of excess glass jars or glass items that I have in my house right now. There it is. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Unless I'm missing something, and a few more items. So I've got 15 glass jars that I'm decluttering. Oh my gosh, why so many? I have an obsession with glass jars. I admit it, it is a bit of a challenge. I consider myself a bit of a glass jar hero. I basically save these glass jars after I've used them. You know, I buy them at the store and they contain, you know, whatever's tahini, coconut oil, pickles, olives, tomato sauce, you name it. It has food in it. So it's not like I bought those. I did not buy any of these glass jars. They just came as a result of the consumption of food of our family. And so I don't want them to end up in the trash because they are so useful. And apparently I am not the only person who has a hard time throwing away glass jars. So I am a glass jar hero. I save them from being thrown into the recycling, and then who knows if they are actually going to be recycled, because the reality is that very few things get recycled, maybe 10% of plastics. I don't know about glass jars, but hey, they here, they work. You can put lots of things in it. You can put your screws, your whatever, your DIY stuff in it. You can put your Q-tips in them. You can put your toothbrushes. You can store food, mixed trail mix, and you can do so many things with these glass jars. But the amount of glass jar that is coming into my house exceeds the amount of glass jars that are leaving my house. And a house is a container. It's a big container. And eventually, if you bring things in, you bring things in, you bring things in, eventually it's going to start to feel a little crowded. And that's because a house is a container. So there you go. I went around the house and I decluttered those. Now, what prompted me to declutter the glass jars? Well, as I said, first is that I keep on bringing them into my life by buying food that comes in those glass jars, including tomato sauce, which I try to get from glass containers, and coconut oil that comes in glass jars, and Bonne Maman delicious jams, which come in glass jars. Now, I am not saying that I'd rather use a different kind of packaging when it comes to goods that come in liquids or that come in oily, that are oily. It's best that they come in glass jars than if they come in plastic or styrofoam wrappings. So it's okay. It's part of consuming food, and but I've lost my trail of thought here. So the quantity exceeds the amount that is leaving. It's not the first time that I've decluttered glass jars in my life. I keep on having to declutter them, and yeah, I feel sad every time. It's true, I feel sad. But hey, here is what I want to do with those. When I finish using the food, I remove the label, very easy. Basically, I soak the jar in soapy water, let it soak, and with a knife, I scrape the tag off. You know, there's usually a plastic, not plastic, there's usually a paper tag that comes. And so I remove it, and I have like the metallic wire, what do you call it? Wire scrounger, or like something that's made out of metal that you can scrub the excess glue that's left on it. And so the jars look nice for other people who would want to use them. So I don't need those. And so I'm going to try to donate them. I'm going to have a yard sale in a couple weeks time. Here in the US, we have Memorial Day, no, not Memorial, Labor Day weekend. And so it's a 3-day weekend. There's usually a lot of yard sales. So I'm going to try to maybe sell those for a few bucks here and there. But if people want them for free, I would be happy to give them away. So that's my hope. I'm trying to get those out of the recycling. But hey, there's no harm in putting them in a recycling. But I'm trying to have other people use them before I do that. I mean, before they end up in the trash. Something else that besides selling, I could donate them, to people. I can leave the glass jars outside of my house for 24 hours, and maybe some people would be interested in picking a few up and actually using them, I hope. But there is also a little store in my town that offers toiletries and what do you call them? Like beauty products, lotion, shampoos, and all these kinds of things that they come in big tubs, and you can bring your own glass jar and fill up your container with them. So I'm going to, if I don't find any takers for those near where I am, I will drive those off and I will donate them to that store, because the customers of that store might need a glass jar if they forgot theirs. So that's my plan with the glass jars. Now, what glass jar do I actually keep in my house? I keep bowl or mason jars. I keep those because they are the most convenient for the kind of food processing that I do. I make pickles, I make sauerkraut, and most importantly, I make apothecary items in general. So every summer, spring and summer, I harvest local plants from my garden, from my neighborhood. I know these plants, I can identify them, I know what they're good for, and I prepare them as teas. I dry them up and they will become teas. And I already have a bunch of them already because that's the end of the summer. So I'm almost fully geared up for the winter ahead. So teas and tinctures, as well as oils and ointments. Let me show you my apothecary, and you will see how many glass jars and glass containers I actually need to do this little fun project. Okay, I'm making you travel to my kitchen. Okay, here we are, and this is a part of my apothecary. So glass jars, you can see I'm using my mason jars and a bunch of glass jars already here for my turmeric, and I've got my supplements, and well, these are from the stores, but I use a few of those for like my coffee. Oops, what am I showing? Coffee and spices and herbs for my everyday cooking. But up here, these are all the teas that I have processed. And I would say maybe 90% of all the teas up there are plants that I foraged this summer. And so what do we have here? We have yerba santa, we have mullein, we have rose petals, we have mallow in a bag, we have a stinging nettle and mint. And so I need glass jars for all these things. Now I'm going to consume, me and my family, we're going to consume all these teas. I offer them to my friends, of course, when they come over, but I want these teas and I want these plants to boost my immune system, or when we have a cough or a runny nose during the winter time here in the mountains. And just plants are amazing. They provide so many minerals and nutrients and vitamins, and they are really fantastic. And so plants are my friends, and my little friends live in glass jar, away from the sun so they don't deteriorate. So I make nourishing infusions almost every single day, and I basically drink them afterwards, and I drink this within a day or two. And up there you see more glass jars, and I have more, believe me or not. And these glass jars have my tinctures in it. So it's basically fresh, organic plant matter that I foraged in my local area and that have medicinal properties. And up there basically is my medicine cabinet. I do have a few supplements in another place, and I do have standard acetaminophen for like headache, especially for my husband. But I have most of my medicine, it really comes from the plants I've foraged. So what do we have here? You can't really see too much, but we got wild lettuce, which is I'm just gonna have to say, I don't know. We have wild lettuce, which is a painkiller. We have hawthorn berries, which is good for cholesterol and heart health. I've got rose hips tincture, which is full of vitamin C. I've got an adrenal product here. I've got lilac, which is good for SIBO and a gentle nervine. I've got a tincture that my uncle ordered for me that has a blend of herbs. I have rosemary tincture, which is great for your brain health. I've got turmeric, which is fantastic, anti-inflammatory. And I've got more tinctures in another part of my house. So glass jars, as you can see, are very important to me, and to maximize this feeling of empowerment that I experience when I learn about my local plants, when I can bring in the benefits of these local plants into my home as food or as medicine for me and my family. I think it's so fun. I love it. And so glass jars, I need quite a few. I'm sorry. I guess in this respect, I am not exactly a minimalist, but I am having so much fun. That being said, I can have too many glass jars. And so to contain my enthusiasm with it, I need to limit myself to the space that I have. So let's say one cupboard has a bunch of glass jars of foods and medicine in it. And here is my other area that has more glass jars. This is the leftover right here. And, you know, maybe that's enough. Maybe these two spots are enough for glass jar storage. Otherwise, it needs to be used. It needs to have food in it. It needs to be consumed. I have no interest in bringing, like, having those just empty. They need to have things in it, and I need to, and usually food, or it could be something you make. Maybe it could be a candle, maybe Maybe it is your Q-tips. You can use them as storage solutions, but for me, I use them for food, medicine, and for what do you call them? Skincare, lotions that I may make, shea butter. I may put like olive oil and coconut oil and things like this that I would use in my bathroom for skin and hair and things like that. So, now you understand my glass jar addiction and how I am truly a glass jar hero. But hey, you don't have to do all this. Of course, you can just put them in a recycling bin, and it may have to be what I end up doing. Sometimes I do it, especially if the glass jar is difficult to clean on the inside. Maybe if it's an olive oil bottle and it's full of oil at the bottom and it's got a narrow neck at the top, then it's going to be really hard to clean it really good. And oil becomes rancid. So I just clean it as best as I can, and those I end up putting in a recycling. So bye bye to the 16 glass jars. Thank you for your service.